Hey folks, welcome back to the Rockin' Sea Homestead. My name is Lance. I want to welcome you to our channel and thank you for coming back and watching this third installment of our Chickens 101 How to Get Started series. Last week we talked about, what do you need to do, or what resources do you have to have when you bring in your brood home or you're hatching your eggs. What do you need to have ready for them? So this week we're going to talk about best practices on feeding and watering, what type of containers you need, or bowls or little pails or whatever it may be that you want to feed and water your chickens in. That's what we're going to focus on, or at least how we do it on our homestead. So the first topic we're going to talk about today is watering. And depending on the size of your flock is going to depend on how many waters or the size of waters you need. And then also the size of the chicken is going to determine the size of those waters. So if you have 30 chickens, but they're all little baby chicks, you may need multiple small ones. And as they grow up, you may only need one or two larger waters that may be able to handle them. So let's talk about the little waters that we like to use, especially with our little baby chicks. We usually get something similar to this. We get this at like our local Atwoods, which is like a ag store, similar to like a Tractor Supply. And they come with a little plastic container like this, and they just screw on there. You can also use a mason jar. If you have a non-wide mouth lid, it'll fit right on there. Now, depending on how small the baby chicks are, you do have to watch out for them coming in here and kind of falling in, and they could actually drown. So a lot of people in the brand new baby chicks or quail or something like that, they'll put like pebbles or little rocks and stuff you find in fish tanks, those type of situations, and they'll put them in there so they can still get the water out, but they won't go in there and actually hurt themselves. Now, as they get bigger, you may want to upgrade this to a bigger water, something like this, and you can actually use this at the very beginning. And this is just a bigger pail of water. It has little nipples down here that they take their little beaks and pluck at it, and it lets water drip out, and they can drink it, and they seem to like it. I've seen this for baby chicks at our Tractor Supply store. So it doesn't have to be the one, but also you can get these in a bigger, like almost a 3-gallon and 5-gallon. And I've seen people actually just get these nipples and put them in a 5-gallon jug and put that out there for them, or a 5-gallon bucket. So these are very useful, and you can put them in different containers. Now, one of the things that our chickens love is fresh water. No matter what kind of watering device we have, if we can give them an open freshwater container similar to this, they love it. If we give them fresh water, no matter if we have containers, if we give them fresh water, that's where they go to first thing and then get that fresh water. Now this is just a little plastic thing that we got at the ag store, but it could be like a metal pan. The one thing is you just want to kind of have it shallow, but do keep in mind they will step in this and they will poop in it. Very similar to this, and this doesn't seem like a lot of space, but they will get in there and poop in there. So getting fresh water, making sure it's clean, and continually give them fresh water is something that you're going to have to do. So the second major topic that we want to talk about today is feeding and feed for the chickens. And there is just a humongous amount of thoughts and best practice when it comes to feed. Some people will ferment their feed. Some people will go totally non-GMO and organic. And then there's people that go just kind of like we are, kind of somewhere in the middle. And then some people, will let them free range, and that's really all they feed them, and just barely feed them any kind of supplemental grain or of a feed of any sort. So what we kind of do on our homestead is we do let ours free range. We usually let them out somewhere between 7 and 8 in the morning, and then usually put them up right before dark. So as the day goes longer, they get to spend more time outside. And of course, when it's usually that time of year, there's more grass and bugs and those goodies that they like to eat. Right now, most of the grass is dead, so we do supplement a little bit more when it comes to the feed. But to start off with, to kind of backtrack a little bit, when it comes to the little baby, when you bring the little babies home, we get the baby crumbles, and we usually like the medicated. I think it's called chick starter crumbles, and they will get with, they will eat that probably for the first 3 or 4 weeks. Usually, I usually go through one big bag of it. At least for the chickens we've had, we've only had about 6 or 7 at a time. So if you have a big batch of them, of course you may have to have a little bit more than that. But that's typically what we have. We have usually a small batch of new chickens. So about one big bag of that, and then at that point they're ready to get off the crumbles and start with regular feed. And it's a little bit bigger pieces. There's a ton of different varieties out there. We typically, since we're trying to raise hens that lay eggs, so most of our feed that we get is geared to laying hens and a higher protein value in it, so they will get all the goodness that they need to be able to produce eggs outside of whatever they get for free ranging. Just like I was saying, we do free range our chickens for most of the day. Now this time of year in the wintertime, like what they could scratch around and eat grass and bugs, and they're pretty scarce right now. And there's just not a lot of things growing at this moment in time. So we do supplement that with other things that we try to throw out there. We do have to be careful because our chickens and goats are together. So things that may be good for the chickens may not be good for the goats. So we have to be very careful what we put out there. So what we do put out there, and of course this is all moderation, but we use Boss, which is black oil sunflower seeds. We use mealworms, whole corn, a variety of other things. They love, like table scraps or kitchen scraps, like lettuce and even like some fruits and vegetables and those type of things like watermelon, carrots, variety of other things. A lot of things that may have not went well in your garden, throw it out to the chickens and they love it. Now, one thing that you do have to be careful with is certain things may not be good for them. I can't think of everything off the top of my head, but I think avocados, I think grapes. There are certain things, so I do caution you, before you put out a new thing to your chickens, there's a lot of online resources. We'll try to link a couple down below in our description. There's a lot of online resources out there that says this is good for chickens, this is bad for chickens, and really any other kind of animal that you may have on your homestead. You'll be able to find that out online. There's some great resources out there. Now, outside of that, what do we use for containers or buckets or whatever you want to call it, feeding method for our chickens? So our big girls, we have this hanging device. It just kind of clips on and on with a little carabiner. And the reason why we decided to go with this kind of bucket with the hanging is we can just click it off just like that, and then we can just take it inside and clean it and bring it back out. And we do that periodically just to make sure everything's nice and sanitary as much as possible as you can in a chicken coop, right? Now, one of the things I really like about these hanging, and of course it depends on where you hang it, but they are less likely to mess on it and to poop on it and those kind of things. Since this is an open top, they can, if we had something that was over here, if they could get up above it, they can make a mess in it, and then, you're wasting seed and wasting food, and it's not healthy for the chickens. So, but even if you take a step back for even like our little chickens, when we start them out, something similar to the waterer, you fill that up with feed, you fill a little one of these containers or maybe a mason jar, and it just screws on there, and the little chickens peck it out. Now, with any of this stuff, they make a mess, so just know there will be a little bit of waste, and that's just kind of part of it. But the main thing is to make sure that they have good, clean food and good, clean water. So one last thing that I want to talk about on feed is feed storage. So depending on your situation, when you get those, for us, we try to buy in bulk as much as possible, 50-pound bags of feed, and then, that lasts us quite a while. So, but we just don't like to open up the bags and leave them out. We have dogs and we have other animals. We don't want them to get into it. And so we have different containers. We'll show you pictures as we're kind of talking through this of different containers that we use to store different types of feed in, like at least on our homestead. And the one thing that we really like about it is it kind of keeps it locked down. It keeps, sort of predators out. So any other animals, rodents, those type of nuisances, outside of your feed, so you know that you're feeding your animals healthy food when it comes to those kind of things. So you can get those at your ag store, online. We'll try to post some things from Amazon down below. You can do a variety of them. I've seen people use 55-gallon drums. I've seen them use, big old pickle barrels. There's a variety of different methods out there to store your feed, but the main thing is just keep it dry, keep it pest or nuisance free when it comes to like rodents or other animals, just so you're giving your flock very good, healthy, clean feed. Well, that closes out our part 3 of our Chicken 101 how to get started video. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Next week we're going to do one on care and cleaning of the chicken coops. So come back, you'll definitely want to see that, because if it's warm, we're going to be sweating in here. Today's kind of chilly, but definitely it's a family event, so hopefully the kids can come out and help us clean the chicken coop. We always appreciate when they come and help us. Thank you, kids. Love you. But guys, thanks again for coming back and watching our channel. We really do appreciate it. What really helps us out, if you haven't already, is there's a little red subscribe button down there. Click that subscribe button. Give us a big thumbs up. And if you see that bell notification come up, click that notification bell. That lets you know that we've uploaded a new video and it's out there on YouTube. Sometimes you may not get notified of that if you don't. So thanks again. And from our homestead to yours, we'll see you on the next video.